We have to start with the money. I mean, the cold, hard cash losses tied to AI failure are happening like right now.
Mm-hmm.
And not just some small-time fraud. We're talking about a theft so audacious, it bypassed every single security protocol a corporation had.
Yeah.
A single video call. That one call led directly to the theft of $25 million.
It's just incredible.
But here's the critical sort of mind-bending twist. It was a multi-person video conference where every single person the finance worker saw and heard, his own colleagues, people he recognized, was a deepfake.
Every one of them.
That story, I mean, that
Right.
jaw-dropping story out of Hong Kong is the perfect way into this deep dive. Our mission today, really built around the sources you brought, is to zero in on the immediate, measurable costs of AI error.
Right.
We're ignoring the theoretical future risks. We're focusing on the present-day financial crime, the complex legal liability, and the outright reputation damage that is costing businesses millions today.
That's exactly right. And the common thread here is this fundamental undermining of established corporate controls and even human judgment.
Right.
We're moving beyond the hype of generative AI to see what these high-profile cases really reveal about these critical, immediate issues. You've got trustworthiness, corporate liability, and the systemic financial risk this technology is already injecting into the global economy. So we've got three powerful, very different failure modes lined up to really unpack how AI is being weaponized.
Okay, let's unpack this, starting with the heist and the erosion of internal trust. The details of this Hong Kong case, they're astounding. So a finance worker at a huge multinational firm was tricked into remitting 200 million Hong Kong dollars.
Which is about, $25.6 million US, a staggering amount.
What's really revealing about this loss isn't just the amount, it's the fact that the worker was initially suspicious.
That's the detail. That's the thing that should terrify corporate security teams.
How so?
The employee gets this secret transaction request, supposedly from the company's UK-based CFO. He recognized it as a classic red flag.
So he thought it was a phishing email. His guard was up.
Exactly. His guard was up, but suspicion wasn't enough to stop the loss.
So if the initial email failed to trick him, what was the key psychological turning point? What convinced this trained professional to transfer $25 million?
It was the video conference, the multi-person conference. Senior Superintendent Baron Shan Shunqing, who reported the case, he noted that the employee's suspicion just evaporated.
Because of the call.
Because of the call. He was convinced not just by seeing the CFO, but by seeing multiple familiar colleagues on the screen, all of them seemingly nodding along, agreeing with the transaction.
And the police confirmed.
Police confirmed, quote, everyone he saw was fake. The AI successfully weaponized the perceived authority and, the visual proof of having multiple trusted sources there at once. It just overrode his human doubt and all the corporate training.
It's an attack on the most basic way we verify anything, just seeing and hearing someone you trust.
Yeah.
And it sounds like this technology isn't just for these high-value corporate jobs targeting a CFO. Your sources show deepfakes are already a tool for widespread identity theft at the street level.
Oh, absolutely. We see Hong Kong police linking deepfakes to the use of 8 stolen Hong Kong identity cards. And these weren't being used in simple transactions either.
What are they doing?
Well, between July and September of last year, those stolen IDs were used to make 90 loan applications and 54 bank account registrations.
Wow.
And the really chilling part is that on at least 20 of those occasions, AI deepfakes were specifically used to trick facial recognition programs. They successfully imitated the people pictured on the ID cards.
So deepfakes are successfully attacking the very security systems like biometric facial recognition that were built to stop this stuff.
Exactly. It shows that security built for a pre-AI world is, well, it's suddenly obsolete, and the measurable cost is hundreds of successful fraudulent transactions.
So that's the risk, when AI mimics people, breaches that internal trust. But what about when AI just gives out demonstrably bad information? That's the headache Air Canada recently faced. And it brings us to how these AI chatbots are creating new, measurable liabilities for customer service and for the courts.
This is a textbook example of liability by automation. The case involves a customer, Jake Moffat, who bought some expensive tickets over 700 Canadian dollars each way to attend his grandmother's funeral.
Okay.
And before booking, he went on Air Canada's website and used their support chatbot to figure out their bereavement policy.
And the bot just gave him bad information.
Bad information. It explicitly told him he could get a partial refund under the policy after he traveled, as long as he applied within 90 days. So he relied on that promise. He bought the tickets.
Okay, but that's not the real policy.
Not at all. The problem is that Air Canada's actual official policy, which was on a different static page on the site, requires customers to request those discounted fares before they travel.
So he files his claim after the trip.
And naturally, Air Canada rejects it. They told him the chatbot had just been mistaken, or, as we'd call it in the AI world, it had hallucinated a policy.
Wait, hold on. That's where the airline's defense becomes just truly incredible. When this went to Canada's Civil Resolution Tribunal, Air Canada tried to avoid responsibility by arguing the chatbot was, and I'm quoting here, a separate legal entity that is responsible for its own actions.
Yeah.
That sounds like a legal Hail Mary. I mean, did the tribunal even take that seriously?
Not for a second, no. They tried to claim that because the correct policy was on a separate page, the customer should have checked that instead.
Yeah.
They were basically arguing that their own chatbot was some kind of external, uncontrollable source.
Unbelievable.
But the tribunal member, Christopher Rivers, he just completely rejected that argument.
So what was the ruling?
And this is where the ruling sets this critical precedent for every company using AI support. Rivers determined that, quote, it makes no difference whether the information comes from a static page or a chatbot. He emphasized that it should be obvious to Air Canada that it is responsible for all the information on its website.
That is the crucial shift in corporate liability, right? It means a company's legal duty of care now extends beyond their carefully vetted static web pages to the interactive generative output of their automated tools.
Precisely. The tribunal ruled that the company has to take reasonable care to ensure their representations are accurate and not misleading. Air Canada was ordered to pay Moffat about 812 Canadian dollars in damages and fees.
Which is a small amount, but the signal it sends.
It sends a massive signal. You are legally bound by the promises your AI makes, false or not. If your bot lies, you pay.
So we've covered trust erosion through imitation, and we've covered contractual liability through false information. The third, and maybe the most commercially devastating risk, is the damage to a company's reputation and bottom line when an AI system just fabricates a complete falsehood about their business.
Yes.
In a public-facing search result. Let's talk about the Minnesota solar contractor, Wolf River Electric.
This is such a clear case of generative AI destroying a reputation through digital defamation. Wolf River Electric filed a massive lawsuit against Google, specifically targeting Gemini and its AI overviews, back in March of 2025.
After they suffered severe financial losses.
Exactly.
So what was the specific verifiable lie that Google's AI generated about this company? What caused such immediate financial damage?
The AI completely fabricated a narrative. Google's AI-generated text that explicitly stated Wolf River Electric was currently facing a lawsuit from the Minnesota Attorney General.
For what?
For deceptive sales practices, high-pressure tactics, tricking homeowners into signing contracts with hidden fees. I mean, the works.
Yeah, the source of this wasn't some random blog post. It was Google's own model, just mashing up unrelated facts, right?
Yeah, that's the critical mechanism of hallucination here. The AI actually cited real articles and a real AG press release from April 2022, but the Attorney General's announcement was about 10 other solar companies. Google's AI just mixed these unrelated legal actions with Wolf River's name and presented the resulting fabrication as fact in a prominent search overview.
And it got worse.
Oh, much worse. The AI even advised users reading its summary to file a complaint with the Minnesota Attorney General's office against Wolf River.
That is the immediate, actionable instruction to the public to distrust and report the company. So the damage wasn't theoretical, it was documented, and it was immediate.
Absolutely. The sales reps noticed immediate contract cancellations in late 2024. The lawsuit documents several specific customers terminating contracts in March of 2025.
And we're talking about big contracts.
We are talking big money. A canceled $39,680 solar purchase, a $150,000 contract, over $174,000 in nonprofit projects just gone. Overall, the company claimed it lost $25 million in sales in 2024 and is seeking damages over $110 million.
And the mechanism of the damage was compounded because Google's own algorithms then reinforced the lie.
Exactly right. When users searched for the company, Google's autocomplete suggestions started popping up with things like Wolf River Electric Lawsuit Update Minnesota Settlement.
Which just lends it
It
credibility.
makes the fabrication seem real. It turned these false claims into this self-propagating, believable narrative.
The legal framework here is key, though.
Hmm.
Wolf River is a private business, which means they don't have the same high legal hurdles as, say, a public figure.
Right.
They only have to prove negligence, not actual malice. So, for you listening, what's the significance of that difference? Negligence versus malice.
Oh, it's massive. Proving actual malice means you have to show that Google knew the information was false or acted with reckless disregard for the truth. That's nearly impossible to prove.
Right.
But proving negligence just requires showing that Google failed to exercise reasonable care in ensuring the accuracy of what it presented. And given the AI cited sources that clearly didn't even mention Wolf River, proving negligence becomes much more plausible.
Plus, they have the receipts.
They have the receipts. The fact they can document specific financial losses tied directly to customers who cited the AI's claims makes this a very strong case.
Okay, so let's connect the dots here to the larger economy. The consequences of these liability risks are now terrifying the insurance sector.
They are officially spooked. Major insurance companies, we're talking Great American, Chubb, W.R. Berkley, are actively asking regulators to let them exclude widespread AI-related liabilities from standard corporate insurance policies.
And their reason is.
They call the underlying AI models too much of a black box.
Why does that black box nature frighten insurers so much? I mean, insurance is built on modeling risk.
Well, insurance relies on two fundamental concepts, right?
Mhm.
You have historical data to predict how often something bad will happen, and you have risk pooling, which assumes that claims are uncorrelated.
Meaning, if my client's building burns down, it has nothing to do with your client's building burning down across town.
Exactly. But with generative AI models, the black box means they can't predict how or when a failure will happen. And more importantly, they can't guarantee that the risks are uncorrelated.
What does that mean in practice?
It means if a single faulty update to a widely used foundational model causes the AI to hallucinate the same defamatory claim or the same contractual error against thousands of unrelated businesses all at the same time.
That's high correlation risk, a systemic failure.
Exactly. That fear isn't just about the occasional lawsuit. It's about systemic risk versus a single loss. We've seen an Aon executive point this out. Underwriters can handle a single $400 million loss. That's what they do.
But the nightmare scenario is.
The nightmare scenario is an agentic AI mishap that triggers 10,000 losses simultaneously across all these different businesses.
Okay, can you define that term for us?
Agentic.
Agentic AI mishap.
Sure. It refers to an AI that can take independent automated actions, things like booking flights, drafting contracts, maybe even making executive decisions. And a single fundamental systemic flaw in that autonomy causes a rapid, widespread cascade of failures across the economy before any human can step in and stop it.
That sounds uninsurable.
That is an unquantifiable and uninsurable risk.
Wow.
So to synthesize these three powerful, immediate financial risks,
Right.
we've covered the sophisticated theft of funds and identity that undermines internal operational trust. That's the deepfakes.
Right.
We've discussed the failure of information dissemination that results in enforceable customer contractual liability. That's the chatbots.
Yep.
And we've covered the outright fabrication of fact resulting in massive public-facing reputation damage and SEO vulnerability. That's the hallucination and defamation. All three risks just go to show that the AI tools being adopted so quickly have immediate, material, and quantifiable financial consequences. Today,
And that challenge of immediate consequence is compounded by how hard it is to fix the error. Even after Google was notified of the Wolf River error, false claims were still appearing in some search results as recently as November 11, 2025.
the long tail of algorithmic error.
That inability to stop the damage is precisely what brings us to the ultimate question of systemic coverage.
Mm-hmm.
The Wolf River case, it's on hold right now, pending a jurisdictional decision. But if a verdict ultimately holds tech companies legally liable for the defamatory content their AI produces,
Mm-hmm.
what did that mean for every single business that relies on a reputation built on trust, on SEO visibility, on accurate public information?
Well, if major insurers consider AI risk too systemic and unquantifiable to cover, and they are actively seeking regulatory permission to exclude those liabilities from standard policies, it means the true cost of adopting this technology is shifting entirely onto the businesses themselves. So what is the hidden uninsured cost of innovation when you simply can't afford a $110 million lawsuit or a $25 million deepfake heist? That's something for you to mull over as you navigate this new information landscape.